How is everybody? Can you hear me okay? I have a new light and ring stand that actually holds my phone at the same time, and my phone actually fits. And thank you to Ashley, one of my lovely followers, who sent this to me because it is a huge help. Hey Ronnie, how are you? Hey Batty G, how are you doing? I just realized I look like a waiter. I was like rushing to get ready because I was on calls all morning. Hey Amanda, hey Ronette, hey Riss, hey Hondro, how are you? I hope everybody had a good week. So, I'm using my ring light, Ashley. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. So, oh, thank you, Hannah. I like rushed to get ready. So, hey, Kel, how are you? Do you guys still have fireworks going off like crazy where you're at? Whitney has been extremely upset about that. So thankfully we've had like 2 nights in a row without them, but I'm just like holding my breath that they're gonna come back because oh, you don't want to go back to school. I'm nowhere near ready to even think about back to school yet. Hey Donna, hey Anisha, hey Caitlin. So oh, thank you, Cal. A cute bank teller secretary. Oh my gosh. I felt like I looked like a waitress or like a hostess at like Olive Garden or something. Just missing my name tag. Hey Annie, how are you? Dude, my forehead's huge. I just don't care. I'm like, I only had time to like rinse my hair out, not wash it. So, and it was, because I was cleaning the patio earlier, so it was like hecka dusty, so I had to rinse it out of my hair, and then I was like, shit, I don't have time to wash my hair and dry it and everything before the live, so I just rinsed it with conditioner as best as I could and was like, it's getting slicked back. So, rock your slicked back bun, girl, who cares? Be comfortable, especially when it's so freaking hot outside. It's like, that's the other thing. Like, I couldn't even imagine trying to do my hair and then having it get so. But what's going on, guys? Did you all listen to Carlos's feature? She said she wrote it herself. Oh. I'm glad that you didn't have to deal with any fireworks. I'm surprised that like with all of the forest fires that we have in California, and like they're screaming at us constantly about like, you know, that we need to be fire safe, that they even let people have fireworks, because a lot of times fires that do start in California are from fireworks, or at least that's what they blame it on. So hey, Porsche. Well, I saw that people were saying that it always says that at first when she drops a verse, and then they update it on Genius later and add more writers. So people were like, check back in a couple days and then see like all the extra people that they add to it. And I know, and she said she write it. I was like, of course, your slow ass still couldn't even claim to do something properly. So, well, that's the thing, that anybody that knows anything about the industry knows that you can pay extra to get a ghostwriter, not to want writing credits. Like, look at all the songs that Quentin Miller did for Drake that we never, like, he never got credited on until Meek exposed it. So, that's a common thing. Allegedly, Taylor Swift does that, where she pays the extra so they get the that she claims writer's credit. And we don't know that just like Beyonce, 23 people worked on, you know, that album or that song. So everything with this girl is always lies and payola and sympathy and trying to claim credit for things that she doesn't deserve. So I never believe anything that she's trying to push out on everybody. And did you guys see Lotto? And again, like I've said, Lotto, you were never in consideration to be one of those top girls. Ice Spice is not your replacement. She's Carlos's replacement. Like, Lotto's tripping off of somebody that's already surpassed her. There's no competition. So, did you guys see that ugly ass outfit that like went viral that Beyonce was wearing? It was like a silver cat suit that didn't really fit her all that great, and then she had like these long black gloves and like black church shoes on with it. I was like, what in the hell is this supposed to be? It was not cute at all. I mean, if she wants to beef with anybody, Coi Leray is probably the only person that's like somewhat her equal that maybe she should be worried about. So it's like if Coi suddenly like shoots up the charts and her album suddenly pops off, then maybe Lotto needs to worry. But it's not Ice Spice that she should be tripping off of, because Ice Spice is going to surpass her if she hasn't already. Which I feel like Ice has already surpassed Lotto, and I feel like she's just going to continue to blow up more. So, well, and then the song that she was dancing to in that outfit, My Man, My Man, My Man, it's like, you mean your boyfriend's wife's man? Man that you can't even publicly claim because he has a wife is beyond me. So anyways, guys, the topics that we have for tonight were chosen by my patrons. If you would like to join us over on Patreon, it is in the pinned comment as well as the description box. Now we have exclusive content, and that is the only place that I take requests for readings. So they chose tonight's topics. So we're gonna take a look at Nene and see if she's coming back to RHOA and what the heck is going on with Kim and Kroy, because it was all bad just a week ago, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're better than first, because people were saying that like Nene and Kim are both gonna come back to RHOA. So we'll look at Kim first and then we'll look at Nene second and see like if either of them is coming back to the show. She has more than enough money to make orthopedic shoes look cute. Well, I mean, you can get some custom boots or something. You don't have to wear ugly grandma shoes that look like they came from Payless. I mean, or wear some Yeezys. Those are comfortable. Oh wait, I forgot. She doesn't want to wear any Adidas stuff because they ended their deal. But there are way cuter, more comfortable shoes that she could have found for this. Tell me, what is going on with Kim Zolciak and Corey Bierman calling off their divorce? Are they truly working things out? What is going on here? Kim Zolciak and Kroy calling off the divorce. glad that I do. Okay. The first thing that's coming up in the underlying energy is that things are just on a pause right now with them. Like, there's no real true, like, oh, like, we 100% made up and we're gonna make it. It's just right now what's coming up is it's like there's not even enough money to be able to afford to divorce each other. And Spirit is saying that, you know, both of them were being advised by their attorneys that they'd be better off to file bankruptcy while they're still married, because there's not going to really be any assets to divide anyways, since they're both so much in debt, and to come up with some sort of like IRS repayment program and then proceed with a divorce. Because I don't feel like, you know, this we're trying to work it out is going to last very long. But it's a separation that they're trying to have from one another. And it's easier for them to put on the whole, we're going to try to work on things for the kids, you know, rather than publicly admit, like, we're not working things out, but we just cannot afford to, like, get divorced right now. It's also coming up that Kim thought that opportunities were going to come flying at her now that she was, you know, had this announced separation from Kroy. Like, I thought all these networks were going to be hitting me up to, like, have a show about, like, what's going on with single Kim, and let's follow her life now that she's going to no longer be married. And that didn't happen. Nobody wanted to make her like the face of like some product, or any big sponsorship deals came in. She was just seeing like her reputation taking a big hit over and over. The more and more news that comes out about how much money they owe. Oh, Kroy called the police on her because she hit him. She called the cops on him because he said that he was mad that he didn't want her to go with the kids somewhere. So yeah, and she thought that there was already going to be dudes in her inbox too, trying to be like, that happened for her. So now she's kind of falling back for a minute. Spirit saying that she's looking at it as, this is an opportunity for me to regroup and come up with a better plan. And then when things really truly do fall apart, I kind of have my ducks in a row more, because it was very rushed, both of them fighting in the first place, because they were fighting so much that each one was trying to like get their paperwork filed before the other one to get a leg up on each other, and neither one like had a real good like plan in place of how are we going to move forwards. So we're still gonna see. Kroy is going to be the one that leaves again this next time, because they cannot work this out. I don't think either one of them actually is an air sign, but they're both showing up as the King of Swords, and she's showing up as the Queen of Swords, and they have the Eight of Swords in between them with the Lovers card in reverse. So they're still fighting like cats and dogs. There's not even any makeup sex that's happening or gonna happen. There's no love lost between them. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if before we get, you know, divorce papers refiled, that we don't start getting police called to the house because there's more domestic disputes happening. So it's not any better. It's not going to be any better. They're still also going to live on separate sides of the house, you know, and nobody's like, oh, here, move your stuff back in this room. Let's be married again. You know what, Hannah? I read the reason why a lot of these people still live in the same house while they're going through a divorce is because they don't want there to be any question of like I abandons the family or the home when they do go to court, because then stuff like that can be used against them. Like, oh, well, they walked out and they moved out and the kids still stayed at the house with the mom, so the dad doesn't deserve full custody, even if it was like it's so toxic to both be in the same house that it didn't make sense for them to try to still live together. So, and especially in Kim and Kroy's case too, I don't think either one of them could afford even an apartment right now. I mean, she couldn't even make a $2,500. She owes $2,500 to Target on a credit card and she hasn't paid it off. That's a lot of money to you and me, but not to somebody that was supposedly as rich as they were at one point. So, you know, I don't know how either one of them thinks that they would be able to like go get their own place right now. So let's see. Spirit, is Kim gonna come back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta? For now, thank you. Do you guys want Kim to come back to RHOA? She was gambling it all away, Nico. I mean, there was reports that I read that like they said that at one point they were spending like $8,000 like a day or a week on glam for Kim and the girls. And it was like, for what? Because it was apparently, this was said after Tardy for Instagram. Like, I mean, and the fact that it's like Kim wears wigs, you don't know how to plop a wig on top of your head. Like, why do you need somebody to come do your wig for you every single day? Basically, Bravo is not entirely sure that people are that interested enough in Kim to bring her back to the show right now. So it's like, we'll test the waters and have her film with the current cast like a couple of times, like have RHOA or somebody bring her in and then judge what the audience response is to Kim being back on and see if there is interest in her coming back, and then we'll move forwards and make a decision later. So it still feels like if she did come back, it would still take another 2 or 3 seasons before they bring her back. Is people keep saying like, oh, like we want, like they wanted Nene and Kim together. But Nene accused Kim of being racist when she sued Bravo. So like, I feel like the executives would be like, well, does that make sense to have Kim and Nene film together? And that would be like a hard thing for them to like respond positively to, because it's like, well, we thought that Kim, you know, was being racist to Nene and Nene had a problem with it. So I feel like that's kind of something that they're also a little stuck on. So let's see about Nene. Let me grab a different deck. Is on Nene. Is she going to make a return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta? It's YouTube. I don't know if it's because we just had a full moon, but it's YouTube. It's not me. I saw a couple other people on live earlier having issues with it too. So I was praying in the shower and getting ready earlier. I was like, please don't let it be doing that when it's my turn to go on. So yeah. So I apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. That servers. Instagram was being really funky earlier too. So and next Saturday I will be live. We'll do the same type of live, but it will be on Dario De Niro's channel. I linked it in the community tab over on his channel. He's gonna pick out which ones we're gonna look at. So I don't know which ones yet, but I did request that he put Kylie Cosmetics on the list because I feel like, you know, there's some shadiness going on there. Okay, let's see. You know what? Once again, it's just showing up that so long as Andy has any say-so or influence over on Bravo, he's always going to get in the way of Nene coming back, because Andy really feels like between things that Nene said, then the accusations she made, and then her following suit on, you know, initiating a lawsuit against him and the network. And he's still really pissed off and holding a grudge against Nene. So as long as Andy's around, he's still gonna keep blocking Nene from coming back. I do feel like there's other people that have brought this up, and there's other executives who sort of have the idea that, okay, well, if shit does hit the fan and, like, you know, the show is just getting the absolute worst ratings ever, and we don't have, you know, we got to come up with something, Nene will be our Hail Mary pass, and then we'll bring her in. But right now we're still doing somewhat okay. Andy has a problem with it, so it's kind of that, you know, thing they're holding on to in their back pocket should they absolutely need it, but they're going to try to do everything they can. Now we'll bring her back. So Nene wants to come back. Andy does not want her to return. And Spirit's saying, you know, this is something where she should have considered that if she ever did want to return to the show, filing a lawsuit against them was probably not the best idea if she would have really considered that. Because everybody that works for Bravo or works with Bravo knows that if Andy's pissed off at you, it's not the best thing. He's not going to want to, you know, easily forgive and forget. He holds grudges. He gets pissed. He uses his power to his advantage. So Andy's still going to keep her from coming back as long as he can. Okay, let's get into what really happened between Chris Brown and Drake when they were beefing. Was it only about Rihanna? Was it more? Because some people think that there was something else there. So I'm going to try to move through these fast, just that way in case like it does start buffering real bad, we're done with all the important stuff. So hopefully it works. Hey Rena, I'm glad you made it. Are you guys dealing with crazy heat waves where you guys are? Because I saw that they were like going across everywhere, and that we supposedly had like the hottest day on the world ever on 4th of July. It's been like between 100 and 112 where I'm at. So it's supposed to be crazy hot again next week. I mean, it's still like 100 today, but we kind of consider anything over 103 getting into the crazy hot zone over here. Oh, poor thing. I was gonna say, if you're in Arizona, you're probably always hot. Oh. Yeah, it's like been like hot and windy at the same exact time, which was really fun too, because then it's like there's like hot, nasty dust going everywhere, and it made my allergies super bad because there was like a thick layer of dust on my whole patio, and I had to sweep it off, and I was choking, and then it was so hot too at the same time. Oh, see, that's the thing. It's like during all the rest of the times of the year, I'm like, I could live in Arizona. And then when we have like our really hot days, I'm like, would I want to have days all the time like this? I don't know. But I feel like I'm way too chicken shit to live anywhere that like it actually gets like cold for real during the winter, where it like snows and ices. Like that scares the shit out of me. I do not. Okay, so let's see. First things first is that Chris Brown felt like Drake only ever went after Rihanna in the first place to try to stick it to him. Like, it wasn't even, oh, you genuinely wanted to be with her, but that you were trying to win industry, especially because if you guys remember, like, during that time period that this all happens, was back when there was all the like, Drake looks like the type of guy to cry after sex and say thank you to the girl memes that were going around, and he was trying to overcome the wheelchair Jimmy image and actual rapper and not some, you know, child actor who grew up and thought he could rap. And so Chris feels like Drake continually targeted him during that time because it was an easy thing to do, because Chris had, you know, the reputation of being, you know, always constantly trouble and violent and things like that. So it was just like, oh, well, Drake's got to be tough if he's like going toe to toe with Chris Brown. And so he felt like Drake went after the girl that was at the center of all of his, you know, stuff that led to that place on purpose, just to get under his skin, and not because Drake truly wanted Rihanna. Did Drake also go after Karuchi? Because it's Spirit's also talking about like she was not the only girl. Like Drake was going behind Chris and trying to get at like every girl that Chris ever cared about. And on top of it, Spirit saying even some like of the industry chicks where it's like they're kind of industry pass around girls, and it's like, oh, I know Chris like hooked up with her, so like Drake ran to go hook up with the same girl too. And so Chris, then you want to like act like you're gonna do something to me. And so he just felt like Drake is corny as shit. And and that's the thing though, because then later on we saw him do it to Kanye also, and we've seen him do it to a few other people. And so it's like we were just seeing the beginning who Drake really is. You know, Chris was kind of like the first signs of that. And don't forget, Drake even fucked Lil Wayne's girlfriend when Lil Wayne went to prison. And then went to jail and told Wayne, oh, I slept with your girlfriend. So Drake doesn't have any loyalty to anybody, and he's always trying to get at somebody else's girl. So yes, Lil Wayne's the one that told this story too, about how like him and Drake were not okay when he was locked up, and they only made up when he finally got home. And Wayne said, I wouldn't care if he hooked up with any other girl, but he knew that girl was my girl, and she was planning on like, oh, if that girl held him down while he was locked up, that he was gonna like wife her up after he came home. But obviously, well, you fucked my artist, so like now I don't want shit to do with you either. So, well, Drake's turned on Nicki. He's fucked over Wayne. He fucked over Kanye. Chris, he's always like doing weird shit to people. Look what he did to The Weeknd. Look what he did to Quentin Miller. And then people always are like, Drake's so cool. I'm like, yeah, until he decides that you have something that he wants, and then he's gonna snake you for it. And Spirit's saying it's because Drake is so insecure because he tries so hard to put on this, I grew up in the streets and I'm some tough kid and I'm a rapper kind of child actor. So he's so insecure about portraying something that he isn't, that he feels like he has to do things like that to people, especially people that he did admire, who, you know, he thinks like, oh, like they're at a higher status than me. If I can steal their girlfriends, then I'm cool too. If I can beef with them and then get the whole of me, then I'm the cool one and they're the dork. So exactly, I was like, I wish both Wayne and Nicki would just be like, whatever, go fuck yourself. Because yeah, he's not a nice guy at all. He just was always looking for his way to like stick it to somebody. I mean, you know what he reminds me of? Kris Jenner. Like such an opportunist, and like, oh, like I'll throw anybody under the bus and go befriend somebody else if it makes me cool, or if it gets me closer to like more popular people, or if it gets me an opportunity or a job. And to hell be damned with actually really making real friendships and connections with people. It's all surface level. And what Spirit's saying, even though Chris is, you know, for the most part, like moved on and even made music with Drake, it was just more because Chris was really trying to leave like that part of his life behind and change for the better, especially because, you know, he's become a parent and so many things have changed in his life. And also to try to get the industry to sort off of him a little bit. But he will never trust Drake, and he still feels like he kind of always has to like look over his shoulder and worry that like, oh, like if I did get with some girl that I really, really love, is Drake gonna come along and try to snake her away from me? So hey Lorna, how are you? Well, I think any sign is hit or miss, and you know, in a situation where you're trying to look at like where somebody's coming from and what would motivate them to do things like this, you would have to really look at like their whole chart and see like where's their moon sign, and you know what's in their Jupiter or their Mercury or their Mars, or you know what's in certain houses, to really see like what is influencing everything you know, Kim is that last day Libra, first day Scorpio cusp. Kendall and Chris are Scorpios, and Drake is a Scorpio, is, I'm sure, contributes to it some. But like I said, you know, you have to look at the whole chart to really see everything. But oh, you know that Carlos uses bots and fake accounts and stuff to do stuff like that too, though. She doesn't have as big of a fan base as people think that she does. And again, like I've said before too, these girls are so short-sighted that they want to get their clout and make a big deal off of things from beefing with Nikki, because then you're only getting people who hate Nikki supporting you, and guess what? That's fake. They're just gonna hype you up online and be like, yeah, go beef with her, and try to like stoke the fire and the drama, but they're not gonna go actually support anything that you're doing. They're not gonna stream your song, they're not gonna buy your album, they're not gonna order your merch. So it's not a true fan base. And that's why, you know, people like Taylor Swift, like Beyonce, like The Weeknd, even Drake, Nicki, whoever, people that have real fan bases that they built, it doesn't matter if they chart on Billboard or not. They can still sell out a tour, and they can still make money off of their music and anything that they put out, because they have real fans that are going to support it even if the mainstream isn't. And they're too caught up in trying to be viral and trying to go on, trying to beef with this person and that person, that they don't see the bigger picture, and they just cut themselves short. And that's why if people in the future all decided we're gonna do the Tory Lanez thing and we're gonna go independent, they will be the first people to go broke. Whereas Nicki, Drake, all those people that I just mentioned, they could go independent and still maintain their lifestyle because they have real fans that are going to show up and buy everything that they put out, whether they have labels supporting them or not. And that's the difference. And that's why it's really going to screw these girls in the long run. And they are going to end up like Milli Vanilli, where once people stop messing with you, or you get exposed enough that people don't like it, the label's just going to be like, well, thanks for playing along. Have good luck, you know, in your next chapter in your life, and drop you. And Carlos is such a baby. She needs some milk. Oh my God. She really does. She really does. That's why Ice Spice is smart, because she's curating and building her own fan base. And that's why I keep saying, you know, obviously, like, whoever is on Ice's team has studied everybody and seen what they did wrong and what they did right. And they're moving accordingly when it comes to her, because it's like, okay, well, we saw that didn't work out for Carlos, but we saw this worked for Nicki. Let's follow this and make sure that we're like really establishing this girl with a fan base, with opportunities, before we even play about giving her a full album. Exactly, Star Trek ambassador. That's what I'm saying. I mean, even I know Missy Elliott's a Nicki hater, but she was talking earlier. I saw some tweets of hers that got reposted on Instagram, and she was saying, you know, that that's why artists have eras, and they will very much stick to, this is the style of music, this is my look, this is my aesthetics, this is even how I'm gonna dance, because their fan base, once they show up, is gonna expect you to continue that. Whereas you can't just, you know, be like Doja and every single day you're an entirely different person, and then people are like, what am I signing up for over here? Because I don't know if she's trying to be an adult entertainer or a singer, or what is this girl up to? Oh, Missy Elliott, she's always hating on Nicki because she's all buddy with Lil Kim. So, which, and allegedly Missy's the one that set Kim up to get jumped by Faith Evans in the studio. So, which that sucks, because imagine like if we had a Missy Elliott and Nicki Minaj collab. I would actually like think that that would come out pretty fucking awesome. Actually, you know what would be a really good collaboration? But of course, we'll never get it. Missy Elliott, Lady Gaga, and Nicki Minaj. Can you imagine? Because they're all so animated and they can all do so many different things. That would just be crazy. But Missy's too much of a hater to make it happen. So Lady Gaga and Nicki, though, I think that that would be so good. Gaga's been showing love to Nicki recently, so I think she got over it. I think what happened a lot was Gaga, you know, I think she fell for, because they were always trying to kind of like pin her and Nicki against each other in the beginning, because both of them, you know, into the wild, crazy looks and being super creative with their videos, with their aesthetics and everything, and people were comparing the two of them against each other, and I think Gaga fell for it. But I think that she's moved past that at this stage. But I just think that that would be like such a fun song together, and especially after Nicki did the song with Kim Petras, it made me even more like, man, that would be such a good collab with Lady Gaga. We can hope. You guys, let me know in the comments, who would be your dream collaboration that, like, with Nicki? Like, if you could pair Nicki up with any other artist and get them to make a song together, who would you choose? I want to see what you guys have to say about that. Because mine are Lady Gaga and 50 Cent. We'll go with Alive, just to make it easier. Ooh, Tyler, the Creator, that would be interesting. Lauryn Hill for sure. Yeah, I agree. Every time I just think about 50 Cent and Nicki on a song together, and just like a really classic, like, New York pop song, like, that just makes me have shivers down my spine. Kendrick, yeah, Kendrick's, I think, would be good too. 50 would be bad, yep. I want 50 to make a show for Nicki too, like a power type of a show, because Nicki is a good actor also, and we haven't gotten like enough of that. Even if she's not a full character, but like, you know, she comes in here and there as she can because she's busy with other stuff, like she plays a recurring role, that would be good too. Well, she did do a song with Mariah before that, before their beef, so I don't think that Nicki and Mariah hate each other anymore. I heard that #1 like producers that worked on American Idol when they were on and that all happened, they said that it was Mariah that was the one that was going after Nikki, and that like they felt bad for Nikki, and that they were always like behind the scenes trying to get Mariah to leave her alone. But they said the reason why Mariah was pissed off was because she was promised the judges panel, and then they sprung Nikki on her afterwards, and that like pissed her off. Up out my face was such a bop. It was. Nikki and Doechii, yes. Yeah, I know that Nikki and 50 are doing a show, but it's an animated show. Like, I want to see her do, like, especially after the Do We Have a Problem video. Like, I would love to see Nikki have, like, a character that she played on Power, or even, like, Tommy's spinoff. Nikki and Doja would be dope. Yeah, they already work together too, though. So, and I don't really trust Doja right now. I think that Doja's just gonna go any way that the wind blows. So, yeah, Nikki was on the Say So because that's how she got her to get that #1. Attention was so boring and basic. You know what? I still haven't listened to it. I heard like the clips that came out like when they were hyping up the song before it was released, and then I completely forgot that that song even came out. And I never saw it being like reposted everywhere or even talked about or promoted that much. Well, yeah, I don't entirely feel that comfortable listening to Doja at this point either. So, okay, it's starting to buffer quite a bit. So let's get into Keke Palmer and Darius, because I feel like we're going to have to end it soon because it's getting crazy on the staying online and not buffering. Oh boy. So listen, I understand his point of view, but I do not understand or support how he shared it and went about it. You know, maybe dressing sexy and being all over another man, that's completely understandable, but that's a conversation that you have inside the house with her. You don't tweet it out to the entire world and then try to use being a mom against her to shame her. So, Dario, oh my gosh, no. If Dario had dated Keke Palmer... oh my God, like, I can't even imagine what that would have been like or how I would have reacted. No. Dario, is there something you'd like to tell the class? I saw it, and because, you know, I don't spend like a whole lot of time on Instagram. I just sort of check it like here and there throughout the day when in between my client calls, and just see like, is there anything going on that I might want to read on or whatever for a video. And so first I saw that, I thought he was just joking, and then it wasn't until hours later that I went back on Instagram and I'm like, oh, he doubled down and everybody's dragging him, and now it's a mess. Darius, thank you. What does he do for a living? I didn't know that Sarunas was his brother. Like, I didn't even know who the hell this guy was. He just popped up with Keke and she was pregnant, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know Keke had a man. I didn't know that was her man, and now she's having a baby, and I've never heard very much about him. This was his brother, and I was like, wait, what? They're related? He's a physical trainer. Oh boy. Well, there's no reason why you need to be publicly embarrassing and shaming each other in a relationship. You know, you have every right to feel a certain type of way and to have standards for the relationship that you want and how you want your partner to be within that relationship. And if they don't agree with it, they have every right to move on and say, I'm not going to date you because I'm not changing those things about myself. But you talk to each other about it. You don't get on Twitter and start tweeting to the world about that stuff. Oh boy. It's not good for their relationship, guys. We've got the Tower card coming up and the underlying energy. And then financial things influencing this behavior. So he's feeling insecure about the fact that baby mama is more successful than him. So he's already been kind of feeling like, oh, like I'm a bum with other dudes that she's around in the industry, and one of them might, you know, offer her more than I can and she's gonna leave me for it. So then for him to see her dressed up sexy, and especially because Spirit's saying he's become even more insecure because Keke's gotten so much attention for the fact that, like, you know, I'm gonna let you finish, but you had one of the best post-baby glow-ups of all time because she got, you know, this amazing curvy little bit of that baby. He did her right, so everybody's been paying attention to her. So then you're getting all this attention. Now you're dressing sexy. Now Usher is all over you, and Usher's obviously, you know, a catch to some people. And that is upsetting him, and he is completely in his feelings. And things got too much for him, and he thought, oh, well, I was embarrassed. I'm already starting securities. You further embarrassed me. I took it as a public embarrassment, so I'm going to publicly embarrass you. Whereas to Keke, she's just like, this is just how I am. I was just playing around. Like, everybody know I be like hella like like out there and kind of crazy and wild and animated and everything. Like, I wasn't really looking at Usher singing to me like, oh, I want to get me some of that. Like, I was playing along. It's entertainment. I really was out here embarrassing you. But Spirit saying they've been arguing, and the topic of finances has come up too since they got home. And had a little confrontation about all of this. So now don't be surprised if we don't hear that they've broken up. I don't think that it's going to be immediately that anybody's going to announce it. But we've got the death card here. Spirit saying to read it as the end of this relationship. It was a relationship that was really, like, Spirit saying he was never supposed to be her husband. Little relationship while they grew and figured out what they want, and then move on and find the actual right people for each of them. And if he's already, because Spirit's saying if he's already having these types of issues, Keke has a lot more opportunities coming her way in the future, even more visible. And if he's having issues with it now, he's gonna even more so the bigger and bigger that her star climbs. Because I'm hearing like she's gonna end up having the type of career like an Angela Bassett, where she becomes a legend in her own right and stars in, you know, comedies, TV shows, Oscar winning movies. So it's like she's gonna have to let this guy go now before she gets to that point, because otherwise he is going to make her life miserable. and he needs to work on himself. So, yeah, and you know what is funny that Spirit's saying is they were talking about getting married while she was pregnant, but since the baby has been born and he's been acting very differently since then, Spirit's saying that she's in the place where she's kind of like, oh, well, I don't think I want to get married for another 5 years, kind of trying to put that off because she doesn't want to actually like get married to him either. So, but you know what, Saint Spirit said that this was just sort of, you know, what had to happen for him to explode, for her to see how he really feels about things, because he's been holding it in and they've been snapping at each other. And she was just thinking, oh, well, it's just because, you know, we're both new parents and we're trying to get used to this and we're exhausted because the baby's up all night. But it's really him deep down inside, and really has been all along. Yeah, it's not great. So we will end up seeing them breaking up. After this, though, Keke's actually going to find somebody who is so much more suited to her. And Spirit's saying that it's like the universe like already has this person picked out for her. And it is somebody who's showing, because she's showing up as the Queen of Wands, and that like, I'm about a bag, I'm about my business, I'm about my career, I'm very motivated. And normally the King of Wands shows up, you know, obviously as a cheater, but Spirit's saying to take this in the sense of that he's showing up as her equal match. And it's somebody who has the same drive as her and has the same career goals in mind and wants things. And so they are far better suited, because Darius is showing up as the King of Cups. Keke is not, let's sit around and be emotional. She's like, let's get to work. Let's solve the problem. Let's move on and get over it. So they are just like energetically not a good match in general anyways. So their baby is super cute. I know. Well, and then did you see all of this stuff that was getting exposed about him? I saw this morning on Instagram that they were saying that he was like an All Lives Matter supporter, and he was, you know, like agreeing with and spouting off and tweeting things that were kind of like, you know, the incel men with podcast type of content. And everybody was, you know, pulling up his old stuff and being like, oh, he's that type. Like, shouldn't come as a surprise that this is how he would react to something like this. So he was trying to fly a girl out too. Oh my goodness. See, he's so immature. And that's why I feel like they're literally on the precipice a few more months. Because I feel like Keke's not the type of person that wants all her business out there anyways. And she's more so like, let's privately break up, figure out what we're going to do with the kid, handle all of that stuff first, make sure we're in a better place with each other, then we can release a statement. We'll probably hear that they broke up from him. He probably thought Keke was the safe choice until she went and glowed up after the baby. You know what? There's a lot of men like Safari and Meek Mills, you know, that they'll date a woman and be attracted to her because she's successful and driven and motivated. And then it's like they start to feel very insecure, like, oh, I'm never gonna be as successful as she is, and then they have to do things to try to bring her down and make her feel bad about herself so that they can feel like they're the man in the relationship again. And it's unfortunate, and why women who date up do tend to have more successful relationships. Yeah, and he was blaming it on the outfit. It had nothing, you know, yeah, the outfit was a little bit of it, but honestly, it wasn't that revealing. I mean, we see far worse on Young Miami at any given moment. And he was acting like she was, you know, wearing a thong and a mini skirt that didn't even cover her whole entire butt cheeks or something. It was a bodysuit under a sheer dress. It was, yes, it was, you know, sexy, but it wasn't like disgustingly sexy and way over the top. So, yeah, he was just doing that because it was really that he was pissed that she was getting attention from Usher and giving it back. But like Dario said, this is a huge red flag because this is a man that wants to control you, that wants to publicly humiliate and shame you because he can't handle his own emotions and he's not emotionally mature enough to sit there and say, hey, I have an issue. Can we talk about it? Or himself. He's just going to make her the problem because he doesn't know how to deal with his own issues and insecurities. So, yep, he should have dealt with this in private. But honestly, it's probably best that it went down this way because now she knows 100% what she's dealing with, so she can make tacos sound so good. I have to still get or make dinner for us because kiddo's with me this weekend. He's in his room watching YouTube videos right now. So, you know, but Usher does this at his shows with everybody. He was serenading Kim Kardashian and Kroy when they went. He did this with Taraji. He did it with Sweetie. He did it with a bunch of different people. Like, he always picks some girl to serenade. And Usher's fiance is at every single concert. So I don't think that she really is the one that has an issue with it because she knows, like, that's just being an inner dance on them. A lot of performers do stuff like that, but you know, and their partner understands that it's just part of the show and that they're not actually like really interested in that girl that they brought on stage. So he's definitely a controlling narcissist. This is good for Usher. He's getting so much publicity. Yep. He definitely is. I mean, everybody's been talking about Usher and bringing up clips from his show and being like, look, he does this with everybody. He did it with some random old white lady one night in the crowd. So on stage, and so it's working out good for him. Yes, Keke's definitely gonna come out on top, and like Spirit said, she'll end up with somebody who's a much better match for her. You know what? It's too bad that Kenan decided to just become who he is, because Think about like what a cute couple Nick Cannon and Keke Palmer would have been otherwise, because they're both like extremely hard workers. They're both super like animated and outgoing and funny. They're both super creative. They're both multi-talented. Like they could have been like making so many projects together and really been a power couple Cannon has become. But if he hadn't gone in that direction, I think like he would have been a cute match for her. No, I didn't know Usher did a skincare routine for Vogue. That's funny. Well, no, I said not this Nick Cannon, but if he'd been the Nick Cannon that he was before he got with Mariah Carey, they would a cute match. Who do you guys think Keke should end up with? I want to see what who you guys have for her. I know. Well, good luck to Darius. Ooh, Damson Idris would be good. Michael Jordan, I don't know. I feel like he's too straight-laced and like she would scare him. Because he seems like he's really kind of shy and like not like super outgoing outside of work. Like, oh, I'll be that way because of work, but like I'm more chill in my personal life. And I think that she would probably like be too much for him. But I could see Damson like loving it. Because he seems like he's got more. Oh my God. With a Denzel. Sarunas, oh my God. Listen, didn't Sarunas have his own issues with like he knocked somebody up outside of his relationship or some sort of drama happened with him and the girls? No, everybody that Lori Harvey's with is a PR thing. She gets paid to pretend to be their girlfriends. A Denzel type of person who is within her age. Who is even like the new Denzel? Because I always just only ever see people saying Michael B. Jordan would be like the Denzel replacement. But I don't know at this point with all of his drama. Yeah, I remember there was some weird drama. It happened like right when Insecure was ending that they were talking about Sarunas like dogging some girl out. I could see her with somebody who's like a Rich Paul type of a person, like a agent for like the athletes, or somebody who's like an executive in the music industry if they were like young and attractive. So well, I think that they're trying to establish Lori as the it girl in Hollywood and repair her image, because when she was allowed to date on her own, she was picking people like Future and Diddy's son. So I feel like, it's okay. Well, now we have to, rehab all of that. We ever with her to marry up and get somebody better. I could see Lori ending up like how Sophia Richie married Elliot Grange. Or is it Elliot Grange or is it the son? I always get the dad and the son confused, but she married one of the Granges, and he's comes from a super rich industry family. I could see Lori ending up with somebody like that. Where it's like, oh, situation. So athletes are definitely trouble though. Oh, imagine that Tupac was still around. Watch, she ends up with some low-key guy from Alabama. That would be hilarious. So guys, it's just like buffering so much here that I am going to go ahead and end this because I keep pausing, waiting for it to stop buffering and coming back, and it's being annoying, but we went through all our topics anyways. I will be on Mr. Dario Dinero's channel next week, and hopefully there's no buffering on that live. But if you guys wanted to book a reading, all of the prices are already discounted on the site. No coupon code needed. You can get readings for as low as $35 right now. PsychicBellaLove.com. If you want to join the Patreon, it is patreon.com/PsychicBellaLove. I did join Threads, the new, follow me there. And Dario's channel is linked on my community tab. So make sure you guys subscribe over there, and we will be doing our live there next week. And Lindsay put the link in the chat as well. So we will be over there next week. We will be looking at celebrity businesses and doing readings on those, and then Dario can also add his financial expertise input for that as well. I love you guys. I hope everybody has a good week. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like the live on the way out. It's a free way to support the channel. And I hope everybody has a good